Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 follows the band of misfits we've come to love. They continue building their HQ after the events of the holiday special. But something seems to be troubling Rocket, Bradley Cooper. We follow Rocket as he walks through nowhere, showing the lives of the Guardians. With each interaction, we get a sense of disarray between the group. Whether it's small banter or bickering, to hurtful comments like bad dog or raccoon, they are shown to be out of sync. We get a glimpse of Rocket's circuitry that will come into play later on in the movie. A nice setup payoff. When Adam Warlock, Will Poulter, suddenly shows up, he begins fighting the Guardians in an attempt to kidnap Rocket. Both wounded, Adam retreats and the Guardians face a great challenge, trying to save Rocket from death. In order to save Rocket from certain death, they must acquire an access code to override his kill switch, put by the High Evolutionary, Chukwudi Iwuji. Apologies if I butchered it. Through their journey, we the audience get glimpses of Rocket's past, and now understand what was troubling him in the beginning. Understanding his hurt, we also begin to hate the antagonist. So, in the final confrontation, we cheer when the protagonist overcomes his greatest obstacle to become victorious in the end. First and foremost, although he is in his potential deathbed for the majority of the movie, this is Rocket's story, confirmed by James Gunn himself and by Lila in the movie. But one of the various things that make this movie beautiful is that even though Rocket isn't active for most of the movie, he still has a character arc. He still is a protagonist, and you still feel empathy towards him. The main reason why is because this movie succeeds in showing and not telling. The opening image shows us baby Rocket, frozen with fear as a mysterious hand reaches in, changing his future forever. Going to the present with a seamless transition from slow and somber music to a rendition of Creep by Radiohead plays as Rocket walks around nowhere. Instead of telling us that the Guardians are out of sync, we are instead shown that, of which will come back into play later on. We understand Rocket's pain through flashbacks of his past, and through the journey the Guardians, including Rocket, accept each other and themselves for who they are and come to love and appreciate the beauty each one possesses. But more on that later. In summary, the movie does a beautiful job showing us everything instead of telling us through dialogue. It was delivered in a way that wasn't forced or felt out of place. With callbacks, humor, and especially emotion, this movie was definitely crafted to be excellent. This movie hits you hard with emotion. Most of it came from witnessing Rocket's past as he makes friends with Lila, Lindy Cardelli, Teefs, Asim Qadri, and Floor, Michaela Hoover. Each flashback was intelligently cut well. For example, the first flashback we get is when Rocket is injured and ends with Lila assuring Rocket that everything is going to be okay. It is then juxtaposed with the following scene where the Guardians are giving an incredibly difficult task to get a code to deactivate the kill switch. Otherwise, Rocket will surely not be okay. Or, after the Guardians set out to retrieve the code from Orgo Corp, the second flashback is seen. Rocket is playing around with his new friends, with the last set of dialogue being, "It's good to have friends," and so on and so forth. However, with each new flashback, it becomes grittier and builds up emotion to crush us. After the groups name each other, the following flashback gives us the terrible truth. Batch 89 was never meant to go to the New World, and are to be incinerated. They were only used to create the creatures that mattered. Apart from the horrifying statement, what led to this command was Rocket's own actions, his intellect, and his want to help the High Evolutionary to be able to go to the New World with his friends. But that was never the intention of Batch 89. So in a way, to help his friends from death, Rocket creates the keycard from the beginning of the movie. Feeling like he rescued his friends only brings horror when Lila gets shot. Instead of running away with Teefs and Floor, Rocket stands there grieving at his actions. Fueling up with rage, he attacks the High Evolutionary, stalling his escape and getting his friends killed in the process. Knowing that they will not be able to see the forever sky they had hoped for, we are left there with a deep hole in our hearts. Not only do we cry, we build up a lot of hatred towards the High Evolutionary, and root when the Guardians manage to bypass the kill switch, rescuing Rocket as a result. After the heartfelt moment near death, Rocket reunites with his friends. Again, Rocket is told that everything is going to be okay, that he can join his friends, but not yet. There are the hands that made us, and then there are the hands that guide the hands. This will come into play later, but from now on, I'm going to talk about the antagonist. The antagonist is a vile and cynical man longing to create the perfect specimen. Not only does he oppose the protagonist's point of view, he stands in the way of the protagonist. or protagonists. He has a God-perplexed mentality. He believes he can create the perfect specimen. He's so fixated in creating it, he becomes sadistic, manipulating, twisting, and splicing together life forms just to get the results he wants. He sees the negative parts of organisms and wants to correct them, perfect them, according to him. But when things become unperfect, he destroys them and starts all over again. A never-ending cycle he dreads to one day perfect. And maybe, by examining 89P13's brain, he can achieve that. This goes hand in hand with the protagonist's view. They see the negative aspect of each other. They see Drax as an idiot, Mantis as a weakling, and Star-Lord cannot get over the fact of Gamora not being who he thinks she is. And he cannot accept her because he only views the negative aspect, that she doesn't remember who she is. She isn't a Ravager, and so on and so forth. And unlike the antagonist, the heroes learn to overcome it and see the beauty each one has. They don't correct, but embrace who they are, or as they are. This would be the High Evolutionary's downfall, because his obsession over examining 89P13's brain. He stops at nothing to get him. He cannot accept the beauty this raccoon possesses. So in the end, we dislike the High Evolutionary for his actions and beliefs. We see through the Guardian's journey the message for acceptance and finding the beauty of people while cheering for the High Evolutionary's demise, making the High Evolutionary a very good antagonist. Apart from his aggressive behavior and mentality, where he owns the sovereign by being the creator, for example. Now, going back. When everyone is getting off the High Evolutionary's ship, Rocket goes back to the place he was tormented in. He opens the raccoon cage using his keycard and comes to terms with calling himself Raccoon. He rescues the animals, fulfilling Lila's message, and with the help of his friends, kick the High Evolutionary's ass. The last topic I'll touch on briefly and quickly, as I'm taking a little bit more time than usual. The message behind animal cruelty was also nicely done. It demonstrates the cruelty of animal testing while also telling us these animals hold beauty in their own way. The homages to various works of art, such as 2001: A Space Odyssey, was also a nice touch. I enjoyed that very much. The cinematography was also pretty good. I especially liked how when they accept each other and come together, they fight alongside each other, with a beautiful long take sequence. We get an epic battle with everyone fighting, helping one another. That was nice. Lastly, the tone. The ending sums up the tone very well. You're happy with the outcome, but sad at what's occurring. It has both sentiment and emotion. Being the opposite from the beginning, going from gloomy to content, was very well executed. The Guardians disbanded, but all is right. Everything is okay. Not to mention that the balance between comedy and drama was also blended very nicely. Overall, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was a very well handcrafted movie that follows along the structure of a good script. You have a good antagonist, a good message, nice character arcs, and a well-balanced tone.